hate when you get a closed one, right?
I usually just bite them.
No, you don't do that at all. You tap them. If they don't open on their own, you throw them away.
No, that's mussels.
No, it's pistachios.
What are you? And this is Dance. He's okay. He's friendly. His name's Paul.
Alien's Uncle Paul.
Was that Klingon? You psychotic nerd.
Listen,
You're watching The Film Fix. I'm Jonathan W. Hickman, and as always, I'm joined by Jeff Marker here at Atlantic Station, and we just took in a screening of Paul.
Yes, we did. Giggled the whole way through.
I did. I really did. It's a very funny movie, I thought.
Yeah, it's a sort of a welcome comedy. We haven't had a really good comedy yet this year. Am I right in saying that? Live action comedy?
I can't think of one right off the top of my head. I guess you could say it's still early in the year. It is March, and the summer is coming. We did see a trailer for Your Highness that looks kind of funny. But Jeff, why don't you tell us all about Paul?
Gladly. So this is one of my favorite comic duos. This is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost Jr. And I look at this movie as those two sort of in their natural habitat. They play a couple of English nerds, or British, I'm not sure which I would prefer. A couple of nerds who come to Comic-Con out in San Diego, and then they make basically an alien believers pilgrimage. They have planned this trip throughout the Southwest, and they're going to hit all these famous sites like Area 51 and something called the Black Mailbox, which is something new to me. Well, as fate would have it, they actually run into a real alien, and you've probably seen the trailers. The alien looks kind of like what we'd expect the little green men to look like. And it's voiced by Seth Rogen, sort of a foul-mouthed, wisecracking Seth Rogen. And so it's an alien character like we've never quite seen before. And so they go on a different kind of road trip than they had planned. They run into Kristen Wiig along the way, and Jason Bateman is pursuing them, and comic antics ensue.
So Jeff, I take it that you like this comic duo.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. Spaced, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, those are some of my favorite things to come out in the last 15 years or so. So I'm just going to admit my bias right off the bat.
Well, and you know, I think that a guy like Simon Pegg, I haven't checked the other fellow's birth date, but Simon Pegg is about our age. So you know, 40-year-olds out there unite. We can still be called young, and all the words they throw out there. A couple of kids, I think at one point they call them. So I take heart in that. But you know, this is a funny movie. It is for a certain qualified audience. Those who have liked the other movies will certainly like this.
Yeah, that's important to say. If you're a Pegg and Frost fan, you'll definitely enjoy this one. However, after having just looked at it for the first time, I don't think it's a better movie than their previous two.
No, I don't think so either. I think it runs out of steam pretty early. The jokes keep coming, and the comic hilarity is there. But you know, I can't say that the movie really sustains it in terms of a story. Shaun of the Dead had some pathos too, as the thing proceeded to its real big climax. Hot Fuzz the same way. It had a lot going for it. It has a lot of very good actors that I think might be wasted in this movie. I'm not quite sure.
A tad bit. You know, the big difference here is this isn't an Edgar Wright written and directed film. This is Greg Mottola, who did Superbad and Adventureland, both of which I liked very much.
Oh, absolutely.
And so the movie's strong on the buddy aspect, and those three really make a pretty good team. But you know, I don't think this has the same sort of deft filmmaking that Edgar Wright's movies
No, it's a little loose.
Do, yeah.
It's a little loose as far as the direction is concerned.
It's a bit more superficial too.
It is, and part of that is the writing. And you know, it's interesting too because this movie shares a lot in common with Superbad, because the two characters in Superbad were going, well, three actually, but they were going on a journey. Sure. And here they're also going on a journey. In that movie, Superbad, it was like one town over one night. In this, it's sort of over a couple of states and I guess a couple of days.
Right.
And so it's got that same kind of feel. It is a road picture of sorts, which is good. There are some special appearances later of certain actors.
Yeah, don't
which
spoil anything.
I won't spoil,
There's
which
some really good cameos.
I thought was really good. Seth Rogen's really good voicing the little alien. I mean, early on, I totally bought Seth Rogen as Paul, and it just, I mean, it really worked for me.
Well, I mean, look, this is an alien that walks around in cut-off shorts and Birkenstock sandals and a backpack and no shirt, you know. So he's sort of like a slacker alien. So
he's totally a slacker.
Who else
alien.
would you get to voice this guy?
And he smokes dope, and he has a particular type of dope that the military gave him.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a rare alien at that. One that we haven't really seen on screen. Plus, there's a lot of homages to movies that came before, like Close Encounters, of course, and E.T. and Star Wars in one scene. So you know.
And let's talk about that for a second, because I think the movie actually, as much as it is fun to sort of spot the references, for one thing, I think they probably have a bit too many. I don't think there are too many unexpected references, and frankly, I think it's funnier when they're not relying on pop culture references.
I did, but the thing is, it did not trade on those movies too much to damage the overall narrative. You know, sometimes a movie relies so much on sort of this built-in fandom surrounding all these other movies that it becomes too up here and isn't good enough for a mass audience. This movie could play pretty wide, I would think.
I think so too. You don't have to have seen all of those movies to really get the comedy. However, I have to disagree a little bit. I think it's the weak part of the film.
Yeah.
At the same time that it's running out of steam in the third act, they start to rely more and more on the references rather than sort of new jokes.
They do, and you know, when they recycle old jokes or use references and trade on that, the movie does get a little flat, and that's true. But overall, I'd say I got my fix from Paul.
Oh, sure, I did too. It's not as, you know, I look at Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and I think, okay, these are writers and directors who really are going to sort of capture our time. Yeah. This isn't nearly as significant as those movies. It's just a heck of a lot of fun.
And it's interesting you should say that, because the next movie we're going to review is The Lincoln Lawyer, which I saw last night. And that's interesting because it harkens back to all of these movies, these legal thrillers that focus on violence against women. It just seems that thing never gets old. And to a certain extent, that might in fact be the limitation in the film. So let me tell you guys all about The Lincoln Lawyer. We got two fixes on Paul. We'll be right back.